This is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get on. Got to get on the show. I'm in to get on. Welcome to the best 15 minutes or so in the universe. It's Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. I'm Adam Carolla. It's Mark Garrigus in his home office studio / kitchen.
/kitchen is right. I couldn't make it all the way over to the warehouse in Glendale for a variety of reasons. I need a Gary Patrick Smith just at all times in my life.
I was walking through the neighborhood yesterday with Phil, past a neighbor of yours. She invited me in to have a glass of wine and for Phil to meet her cats. And then we stood up in their house, and she said, "You know who I see walking through this neighborhood all the time?" And I said, "Paulette Garrigus." And she said, "Her too." And then I said, "Mark Garrigus." And he went, "Yep, that's right." So the neighbors are watching, Mark.
Well, not only are they watching, 3 times they have told me, "Oh, look at Phil." That's kind of a Giglio move right there. Where you just lay down and say, "I'm done."
That's what he does.
The neighbors have been commenting that I've had a couple of things. Like, does he purposefully dress, referring to me, as if he's homeless? And no, that's just the way I dress when I'm walking around. So.
Well, just so you know, there's eyes on you when you're walking up and down Berkshire. So I just thought I'd share that with you.
Speaking of which, can you believe the amount of construction activity on Berkshire? That's the full Contractors Full Employment Act on this area, including that one house that used to have the statues of the lions and the tigers.
Yeah. They're really going nuts on that street. All right. So enough with the local news. What's on your mind?
Okay. Well, we can start with one or two. I think maybe we'll end with my favorite story of the week, which is our new mistress of disinformation. We'll end with that. So I think we should start with Johnny Depp, since everybody seems to be knee deep in Depp. And it looks like I got a piece of information today. I did your friend. In fact, she gave you a shout out today, Megan Kelly. And I was doing her show, and she had Vinnie Politan on, who's longtime anchor at Court TV. And I was bemoaning the fact that I did not know what the juror demographic or composition was. And Vinny was in the courtroom and told us. And I think Gary's got his little blurb.
All right, here it
is. This jury, I walked into that courtroom and I looked at the jury and I was like, "What, are we on spring break?" It's like a bunch of young guys in their 20s and predominantly Asian young men in their 20s. I don't know if that means anything, but you've got 7 jurors who will decide this case. Right now we're down to 9. We lost 2 alternates, but you've got 5 young men. You've got 1 older man. Then you've got an older woman, a younger woman, and a woman with a mask. I have no idea how old she is.
So it's all done. It's made or lost in jury selection, as Mark always says. So what do you make of that?
Well, I will tell you, if you watch or you're on the internet, it's all predominantly Team Depp. I mean, it is if you believe what's on the internet, you would think it's a wipeout and there was nothing to decide. The fact that there are nothing but young men on that jury, and Amber Heard has not gotten up and testified yet, I would reserve judgment here. Wait and see how she does. If she does well at all, just as long as she does not implode, it's hers to lose, in my humble opinion.
Because the young men are enamored with Amber Heard.
Yeah, I mean, most young men, I think, I hate to say this, Adam, you're years younger than I am, but hanging out with my son, who is a young man in his 20s, and his friends and things like that, they don't look that fondly at guys our age. They there is a certain, I don't know if you've experienced this, but guys in their 20s kind of look at us as kind of dinosaurs. And I hate to say it, but Johnny Depp is not at his peak right now. And Amber, on the other hand, so far looks, I think, her best along her career, at least as much as you can gather from a courtroom setting. And if she does not do, or if she doesn't reprise the performance she did in the deposition, she's got a shot here.
What's her shot? I mean, she countersued for $100 million.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, I could be wrong. I don't think anybody's going to award her money. I think that if her psychiatric expert gets up there and counteracts the one that the Depp side put up, the jurors have a tendency to just say a pox on both your houses and kind of cancel out the psychiatrist. Then if she gets up there and she's convincing it all, that should, for the jurors' benefit, to some degree, counteract whatever goodwill he engendered with the jury. If that's the case, you kind of see a jury saying, we're not going to award either one of these people, any significant sums. But, there's still a lot to go on. We've been listening to his case so far. We're not in her case as of yet. And in a civil case, that matters, because civil is not criminal where it's beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil is basically, a preponderance or clear and convincing, which is a much lesser standard.
So do you think his attorney didn't do a good job with jury selection?
I just wonder why you would put 7 young males. I have no reason to doubt Vinny, but why would you have 7 young males? And interesting that Vinny had mentioned Asian. I don't know if that's 1, 2, 3, 4, but there are certain stereotypes that lawyers have about certain ethnic groups. And so that could potentially factor in as well. I don't necessarily, there used to be in the old days in the criminal courts building, the joke was the Orient Express, meaning that they were exercising peremptory challenges to get rid of Asian jurors, potential jurors on criminal cases. But I have found that calculation is as outdated as the kind of stereotypes that surround it.
Why were they doing that?
Yeah, generally there was a perception, a belief, a racist kind of stereotype that Asian jurors tended to be more pro-prosecution, defer to authority, and that they would err on the side of voting guilty, as opposed to a questioning authority, which is generally in a criminal case what you want out of a juror.
All right, next subject. What do you got, Gary?
Well, I think Mark wanted to play a little footage from the trial that came out today.
Sure.
I think the judge is getting a little frustrated, possibly, but I'll pull that up for you right here.
When do you think this thing's going to be brought home, Mark? I mean, is it days, weeks?
Oh, it's weeks.
All right. Wow.
Yeah.
In addition to Pirate 6,
whoa,
did Mr. Depp lose any other films between December 2018 and October 20?
Objection, Your Honor. First of all, I don't think he testified that he lost Pirate 6. Second of all,
she's now contradicting the witness's testimony, which is inappropriate.
Both of you overruled. Let's go. Next.
My favorite part of this, though, was because I've been here, done that, where you do this.
You go to stand up and sit back
you go
down
to stand
again.
up, and it's like, okay, I'm going to object. I don't like this testimony, but why am I objecting? And then you could see that kind of the wheels going on there. Boy, the Amber Heard defense team has, as much as people have been on Team Depp, is kind of the anti-Amber Heard defense team. And it's just been wild.
Is there such a thing as well, I mean, let's talk about, so, we talk about doing things on contingency, realtors will work their butt off because they're on contingency. It's not 40% or 50%, it's 5% or 4%, but they're working it. They'll go, we'll photograph the photography, and I'll do it on my iPhone, and they'll go, no, my guy does it at dusk, at sunset. It's beautiful,
Right, mixes in drone footage.
Right.
We have we're
going to wet down the driveway to look that much better, and there's an effort there because they have skin in the game. Obviously, skin in the game. When you're doing on contingency, that's a lot of skin in the game. This is an hourly rate. I know they take a fiduciary duty, but do you ever see guys kind of mailing it in the sense that I don't really believe in this case. This is kind of a waste of my time. I thought I was going to be working on these important judicial cases that involved getting men of color freed from the electric chair, and here I am with fucking Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and I'm getting X amount an hour anyway, so I'm just kind of mailing it in a little bit.
I think I've told this story, but I don't know that it was necessarily in the podcast. But I tried a case about 14 years ago, and it was against a major pharmaceutical company. And I talked to a lawyer who was monitoring the case on behalf of a very, very large firm, may have been one of the 3 largest firms in the world. And he and I became friendly throughout the trial. And we had a discussion after the verdict. And he had a theory, which 14 years ago I hadn't thought about, but has been proven over the years, that there was no bench, so to speak. There was no junior varsity. There was no really talented group on the defense side of civil cases that was coming up. That most of the kind of go-to defense lawyers were long in the tooth, was his expression. And that his analysis of why is precisely a offshoot of what you're saying. When you have contingency work, the ability to make a big hit, an outsized amount of money, when you've got skin in the game, obviously, is astronomical, as opposed to if the insurance company is paying you, they're grinding every 6/10 of an hour and telling you, we're not going to pay for this, we're second guessing this, we're doing that, it can kind of take the wind out of your sails. So there may be something to your theory that you don't get, to paraphrase our previous president, the insurance companies are not sending us the best and their brightest.
All right. Well, we have a Newsom commercial I know you're excited about looking into. He's standing amongst the sequoias. He's talking to the camera, and he's...
In addition,
over the last few years, our redwood forests have suffered some of the worst fires we've ever seen. But our great trees are still standing tall. You see, California redwoods don't just survive, they thrive through adversity. Burn sites rapidly greening with opportunity. Scientists marvel at their power of regeneration. I say that's the California way. In recent years, our people have also faced some of our toughest challenges. And I've been inspired by the courage and resilience of Californians, health workers, teachers, parents, and kids. You came together, and now you're coming back stronger than ever. As your governor, I promise you, whatever challenges come our way, I will always lead the California way, based on compassion, common sense, telling the truth, following science, treasuring our diversity, defending our democracy, protecting our planet, and always planting seeds for the future.
Gavin Newsom, courage through crisis.
Courage.
Okay. First, the courage, right? First of all, he's wearing, I don't know, for those of you who aren't in California, we have golden bear. So he's got a bear. If you're wondering, why does he have a bear on his fleece outerwear? It's because he's trying to invoke California. But when he's sitting there with a bear on his chest in the woods, all I can think of is, does a bear shit in the woods? And then this guy has shit all over California. And the idea that he's following science, the idea that he is defending democracy. By the way, just one little comment on Mr. Defense of Democracy. We still are under an emergency executive order declared by Gavin Newsom more than 2 years ago. So that's defending democracy while you're under the executive emergency order. And the idea that we're all coming together. This guy is like U-Haul's greatest salesperson for the net loss of Californians. It's astonishing to me, but apparently that's what we're looking for. I think November is going to be a wake-up call for my party. I think that people don't understand the dissatisfaction in this state with our party.
But also using wildfires as a metaphor, a couple of things. you were the warden who presided over the hill that had the fire, and now you're talking about coming back after the fire and how resilient we are. Why'd you fucking burn the place down in the first place? That was
Well,
you
by the
people.
way, I think in some spots the fires are still going. I mean, remember, this is besides the perpetual emergency order, this guy is the king of the perpetual fires.
Yes, I know. And he cherishes our diversity. If I fucking hear another euphemistic sack of horse shit come out of these guys' mouth about courage and cherishing diversity, just fucking do your job, clean up the homeless, work on traffic. Really, look, you can say, all right, here it is. I've talked to experts about why some third world countries are third world and why they can't ever seem to fix their problem. And you know what the number one answer for why certain cultures just can't ever right the ship or get their shit together, or constantly third world, it's graft and corruption. If there's you hear a lot about crime and you hear poverty and you hear education, but all the cultures that are fucked and perpetually fucked are because of graft and corruption, meaning businesses just don't try. They don't think they have a fair shake. It's too much. The government is too big. There's too much graft. There's too much corruption. Not going to open a franchise here. What no one ever really talks about with California is regulation. It is so overly regulated, literally 400,000 regulations. I think New York City is second with 200,000. It's so overregulated that we can't build the housing. We can't get the low-cost housing. We can't get the business. We can't attract the businesses and attract the jobs and attract the manufacturing. We can't do any of it because they add regulations, and it's too burdensome. Too many taxes, too many regulations. The only way they can right this ship is to start working on that. That's it. They want us to do everything. They want solar panels everywhere. They want windmills everywhere. They want us to all recycle. They want us to do everything, but they're so fucking overregulated, we can't do anything. And they never get that point. They never discuss it. It's always, we're better when we're together, and the diversity and all the other cow shit that flies out of their mouth. Start repealing some of the regulations. Streamline shit. If you want to build a multi-unit housing unit, it shouldn't take 3 years. It should take 3 weeks. Whatever the fuck Texas is doing. I know you hate them, but you need the commerce. You need the jobs. You need the housing. Just stop with the regulation. That's, we break it all down. It's like education, homelessness, pollution, minimum wage, whatever. It all ends up with regulation. Just way over-regulated. Can't run a business. Too much work.
Which is a perfect segue. I could talk to you forever about this stuff, but it's a perfect segue, Gary, into our last little vignette, which is a song. We're going to end with song and merriment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of regulation.
Oh, yeah.
Laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. When Rudy Giuliani shared bad intel from Ukraine, or when TikTok influencers say COVID can cause pain, they're laundering disinfo and we really should take note and not support their lies with our wallet, voice or vote. Oh, information laundering is really quite ferocious. It's when a huckster takes some lies and makes them sound precocious by saying them in Congress or a mainstream outlet. So disinformation's origin seems slightly less atrocious.
Oh, yeah. She's going to be the new Minister of Information.
I have a question. If you were to, because I've done this before for clients, if you were to Google or examine social media for a client and, they want a background check and you produce this, you see this and you present it, what board of directors would say, I'm going to hire this woman and give her an executive spot? Like, maybe I would hire her.
For your kids' party.
Yeah, I think I would. I think she'd be good for I just don't even get. This is what drives me crazy. Why in the world would the Democrats think this is a good idea? Why does my party think that, hey, I got a good idea? This will really fire up our base. This'll hey, you know that epic kind of tide that's coming our way in November? I got the solution. We'll have her sing a Mary Poppins takeoff.
Well, I think the problem is it's a sort of, there's two ways you can approach a problem. So she, by the way, who's going to disseminate or discern what is real versus disinformation, 10 seconds ago said the Steele dossier was real and the Hunter Biden laptop was fake. So we're going to put this 0 for 2 disseminator of truth in charge. And by the way, which way did those two arguments go? I mean, you have Hunter Biden on the left, you have Trump on the right. She's being accused of being partisan. Magically, she was 0 for 2, but guess what direction it went? It all went toward Biden and the left. Here's the deal. I'll as long as we're talking about your party. The way to fix your party is with politics and policies, not with controlling information. So basically, it's like, we have the world's shittiest steakhouse. So there's two approaches to us running the world's shittiest steakhouse. We can either start making better steaks, or we can see if we can keep control of the Yelp reviews. And their thing is,
I'd be satisfied with serving better sides at this point.
Right.
I don't even need to get to the steak. Just give me a decent cream spinach and I'm fine.
Right. So their whole thing is we're going to focus solely on Yelp reviews, which is we don't want Elon Musk doing Twitter. We want to start this new board of disinformation. How about you just make better steak? People will come in, which is very telling. All right. Now I'm hungry. Let me give a plug for me. I'm going to be in Indianapolis at Helium Comedy Club coming up this weekend, May 6th, 7th, and then you just go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows everywhere else. Mark?
Engine Company 28. Awesome Dawson was just there at the LAX location, also downtown LA, or stop by Tenny for Mediterranean tapas in downtown LA.
Wait a minute. Where is the LAX location? Because I'm going there Friday.
Terminal 8 in the United.
All right. So until next time, Adam Carolla for Mark Garagos saying mahalo.
Thanks for listening to Beyond a Reasonable Doubt. Stay tuned for more bonus episodes coming soon.